Over the Hills, written by Kat Jones. Exterior, rural landscape, late summer morning. Rolling hills are dotted with sheep, golden crops in the odd farm building, above which lies a band of gorsy heathland. At the base of one such hill sits an old cob cottage surrounded by garden, vegetable plots, and a couple of paddocks where 2 horses graze. A woman, Bertie, 70, full of vigor, cleans her chicken coop with an elderly dog, Rex, asleep nearby. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, later. Sprawling and bright, from an inglenook fireplace with comfy armchairs and a small sofa, past a piano serving as a display stand for family photos, to an aga upon which pans sit. The heavy oak door opens a nudge at a time as Rex leads Bertie, laden with garden produce, which she plops upon a solid long table cluttered with flowers and bric-a-brac. He then flops into his bed at the base of the piano, and Bertie takes a large cake from the aga. Cars pull up outside. Rex lifts an ear, tries to stand, and lays tired eyes on Bertie, who's on her way to help him up. Bertie's adult children, 40s to 50s, and grandchildren, various ages, burst in. Hugs, kisses, and joy fill the room. One of them gifts Bertie a tiny Christmas cactus. She hugs them deeply before placing it on the table. Exterior, Bertie's garden, early autumn morning. As a gray cloud approaches, Bertie carries a spade to a far corner of the garden. Here, russet-leaved trees of various ages hold memorial plaques with inscriptions to pets. She rests at a bench, wipes at tears, and takes a deep breath. Then she digs. Exterior, Bertie's garden, later. Atop a mound of fresh soil, a dog collar with the tag Rex. Rain falls on the mound. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, late autumn morning. Flowers droop, plates crowd the sink, and the view from the window is bleak. Heather, 50s, the eldest child, enters the empty kitchen, looks around, and shakes her head. She walks to the sink, squirts in washing-up liquid, and turns on the tap. As she looks out of the window, she sees Bertie, sat under an umbrella on the bench. Exterior, Bertie's garden, early winter morning. Bertie, on the bench, stares at a small bare tree planted at the head of Rex's mound, while family help with garden chores. Some way behind her gather Bertie's children. They talk about her in whispered disagreement. A tear rolls down her cheek. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, early winter morning. It's gray outside. Post lies in a mound beside the front door. Blue light from the TV mottles Bertie's sleepy face. Cars pull up outside. She glances toward them. Her children and grandchildren spill from the vehicles. They bring a pet carrier. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, winter morning. The fire blazes. The table is set for a big family meal, and the floor is littered with puppy toys and newspaper. Bertie hangs holly branches and laughs as Bruno enjoys some tinsel. She stops hanging holly to roll him a bauble, which he chases and catches. She smiles widely and chooses another sprig to hang. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, winter morning. Through the windows, snow and sunshine. Indoors, the fire glows brightly. Bertie's reading the paper, Bruno running with a shoe in his mouth. She tells him off, but he's too cute, and she laughs before going back to her paper. Exterior, Bertie's garden, winter morning. The skies are pale and cloudy. Bruno digs up a planted veg bed to bury a shoe. Bertie scolds him. His cuteness wanes a little in her eyes. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, winter, early morning. Through the windows, gray drizzle. Bertie walks in and steps in something wet. Her eyes ping open before her face crumples. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, winter morning. Montage starts. The shoe rack. Bruno, around 5 months old, bounces in and gleefully grabs a shoe to chew. He does this over and over, each time getting a month or so older, until he's fully grown and only a pair of wellies remain. He falls asleep. Montage ends. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, late winter, late morning. Dark gray skies through the windows. The Christmas cactus has a year's growth on it, and to the family photos is added a grandchild's university graduation. Bertie turns from the kitchen towards the fireplace, where racks of clothes are drying. A dirty garment on the floor catches her eye. Then another, and another, as a muddy Bruno has found her clean laundry basket. She slumps into a chair, head in hands. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, late winter, late morning. The fire has yet to be lit. The skies outside are gray. Bertie reads her paper disinterestedly. Bruno watches her, walks over and places his paw on her knee. She puts down the paper, softens, smiles, turns on a lamp and pets him warmly. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, days later, late morning. Through the windows, blue skies and sunshine. Bertie washes up. Bruno drops an unchewed welly at her feet. She laughs, puts on its pair, and grabs his lead. As she opens the door, the sunlight beams in. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, early spring, late morning. Blue skies through the window, the Christmas cactus a year older once more. A new photo shows a grandchild's wedding. Blossoms on Rex's spindly tree pop open. Bruno sleeps by the door. Bertie returns. Bruno grabs one of her wellies and plops it at her feet, then the second one. She melts with love, puts the wellies on and grabs his lead. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, spring, late morning. Blue skies outside. Bertie's on the sofa, sewing. Bruno asks to jump up. She puts a patchwork blanket next to her, lets him up, whereby he puts his head on her lap. She strokes his head, then gets back to her sewing. Exterior, Bertie's garden, spring, late morning. Rex's tree, a year older, less spindly, still in blossom. Daffodils sway in the spring sunshine as Bertie mucks out stables and restocks hay under the horses' watch. Bruno walks toward Prince, the taller of the two horses, who reaches his muzzle towards Bruno. They tentatively sniff each other. Bertie notices. She walks past the tack room, and a thought strikes her. Exterior, Bertie's hill, spring, late morning. Bertie rides Prince with Bruno trotting alongside. They reach the top of her hill, and she unpacks a picnic from a wicker basket, sandwiches, a bone, and some carrots. The trio munch happily away. Exterior, Bertie's hill, moments later. From the summit, they watch the house in time-lapse as it blossoms into summer. Bertie swings herself onto Prince. Montage starts. Amid a daze of dandelion wisps, swifts and swallows, dragonflies and broad blue skies, the trio gallop. Bertie is magnificent. She stands strong in her stirrups, heels firmly down, perfectly balanced and in time with Prince, who soars over everything she points him at. Bruno flows with them, the trio utterly as one. With each few strides and jumps, they age just a little. They gallop through rain and sunshine, but always summer. Montage ends 5 years later, still in summertime, as they arrive, breathless and smiling at the cottage. Rex's tree is substantially bigger. Exterior, Bertie's drive, summer, early afternoon. Bruno sits by the car door. Bertie opens it and signals up. He hops smoothly in. She drives with his head on her lap as she strokes him. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, summer, mid-afternoon. Sunny skies, the Christmas cactus larger again. Another family photo shows a grandchild with her new car. Bruno grabs Bertie's wellies. She grabs Prince's head collar and opens the door. They stride out. Exterior, Bertie's garden, summer, late afternoon. The first hints of fruit appear on Rex's tree, which is taller once more. Bertie, head collar slung over her shoulder with Bruno at her heel, walks to Prince's gate where he trots to greet them. She gestures to Bruno, who runs into the tack room and comes out with an apple, which she passes to Prince. She rubs Bruno's head and Prince's too. Exterior, Bertie's hill, summer, golden hour. At the summit, Bruno lies on the grass. Prince grazes as Bertie leans on him. She looks tired. Down at the house, a car pulls up. Bruno barks. Prince lifts his head. Bertie, momentarily reinvigorated, waves. They head to greet their guests. Exterior, Bertie's garden, late summer, golden hour. Heather's car is parked on the drive. Bertie walks out of the cottage, slamming the door, throwing a leaflet on the ground. A leaflet for a care home. She dismantles the bench. Exterior, Bertie's hill, late summer, golden hour. The first flush of autumnal colors hits the heather. At the summit stands the reconstructed bench, upon which Bertie sits, Bruno's head on her lap, while Prince grazes. She takes out Heather's leaflet and studies it. A flock of geese fly over the cottage below them. Prince lifts his head to watch them, as do Bruno and Bertie. She notices their unity, gently smiles and shakes her head before scrunching up the leaflet. Exterior, Bertie's garden, early autumn, golden hour. Rex's tree, larger once more, drops a first leaf. Bertie dusts off an old mounting block to get on Prince. They trot off, but Bruno struggles to keep up. Exterior, Bertie's hill, early autumn, sunset. Yellow and orange leaves fall gently as Bertie waits for Bruno by a series of boulders, which he uses to hop up onto Prince. He sits with Bertie as they amble up the hill. From the top, they watch as the sun dips below the horizon. The wind picks up, and autumnal leaves swirl. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, early autumn, dusk. Red leaves flutter outside the window. The Christmas cactus flows boldly over the table. Another photo shows the married grandchild with a newborn. Bruno can't jump up onto the sofa. Bertie only just manages to lift him up, then wraps her arms around him, tears bright. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, mid-autumn, evening. The Christmas cactus is another year larger. The great-grandchild's first steps are on the picture wall. The room is warmed by the fire. There are steps up to the sofa. Bruno tries to climb them, but can't manage it. Bertie's too frail to lift him. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, mid-autumn, night. The fire burns. Bertie's asleep on the sofa, with Bruno in the crook of her knees, on his patchwork blanket. She stirs, rises, and walks with a stick toward the kitchen. She pauses at the piano and gazes upon the photos, picks up some, touches others. Puppy Rex is there, and Puppy Bruno, too, burying a chewed-up shoe. She lingers at this photo. She looks across at the aged Bruno. Her eyes sparkle with unshed tears as she makes a decision. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, autumn, night. The kitchen fire glows warm, but the room is much less cluttered. Bertie puts the last cardboard box on a stack of named packing boxes, for Heather, for Amy, for Bill, etc. She takes a cake out of the oven and cuts 2 slices, which she packs into her picnic basket. She opens the bin, in which lie empty bottles of sleeping pills, and drops in the rest of the cake. She writes a letter, folds it into an envelope, and draws a love heart on the front before placing it against the sprawling Christmas cactus, its flower buds hanging low. She takes out a leaflet of her own, a beautiful retirement farm for horses, and leaves it with the letter. Exterior, Bertie's garden, later. It's dark, but the stars and moon provide light enough. She puts Bruno on Prince with a combination of steps, boxes, and determination. She lifts up a packed wicker basket and gets on slowly herself. Rex's tree, fully mature, drops its last leaf as the trio ride out of the gate. Exterior, Bertie's hill, moments later. They plod up the hill, the Milky Way above them. Exterior, Bertie's hill, moments later. Bertie and Bruno sit on the bench. She takes some homemade cake from the basket and shares it with Bruno. They eat. Prince nods towards the basket. She reaches in and gives him a carrot, standing to give him a cuddle. Her eyes sparkle. She sits on the bench. Bruno settles his head on her lap, but she lifts his head and kisses the top of it. Bertie wraps the patchwork blanket around them. Sparkles grow around her. They whirl and grow. They encompass Bruno, too, until they fade and are gone. A shooting star flies over the cottage, with another fast on its heels. Prince stands over them. Exterior, Bertie's hill, moments later. The moon shines. Stars sparkle. The wind picks up. Bruno's head lies on Bertie's lap, eyes closed. Bertie's hand lies on Bruno's head, her eyes closed. Prince nudges her. No response. Interior, Bertie's kitchen, dawn. Through the window, Prince's silhouette stands in mourning over a dark shape on the bench. The note is propped against the cactus, the flowers open. A car of bustling family pulls into the drive.